Okay then, thanks for tuning in for watching another Boombox video. And in this one then we've got, up in front of the camera in this video, a Panasonic Boombox. Okay, it is a model RX-C37L. What we got there then is a three-piece boombox, this one. Okay, the speakers are detachable. And yes. Now this one is a bit of a basic one, okay. There's no graphic equalizer on it. It's all nothing. Okay, it's just a standard, normal cassette deck. And yeah, got 4 bands though to play with on the radio, so that's good. And there we are. So let's get into it then, and what we're going to be doing is having a look at all the controls just above the tape deck. Let me get that. Oh, the zoom already is out. Let's get the camera a bit closer then, and let's get into it. And I will use a bit of zoom, of course. Rightio then. There we go, that focus has sharpened up most superbly. So, from the left then, we've got a headphone socket on there. That is 3.5mm on there as well, so if you wanted to plug your headphones in there from your little pod thing, you can do. Or if you wanted to use proper hi-fi headphones, then you'd need an adapter to go in there to convert it from the 3.5mm over to 6.1 size. Okay. Next control along there, we've got FM mode or BP. BP is beat proof. On some others it's called beat cut or riff or whatever. Okay. On this one we've got, it's a stereo up the top, and then you've got in the middle down the bottom you've got mono, and then you've got like 2 and 3. I'm not quite sure what that's about, but there we are. But I do know that sometimes on an FM stereo broadcast, if there's a lot of hissing and goodness knows what else, you can put it onto mono and it does cut a lot of that out. But the reason why you've got 2 mono selections on that, I don't know. Okay, moving along then, that's the tripod rubbing on the floor, making it all jumpy like that. Selector then. Down the bottom we've got tape, in the middle we've got radio, and yes, once again, okay, I'm glad to say, we've got a dedicated line input on the selector. Okay, some boomboxes are this thing which I'll refer to as push record for auxiliary, which is a bit of a peeve off. Basically speaking, to get any sound through from the line input socket to the speakers, you've got to put a tape in and press record. Hence my calling it push record for auxiliary, which is, well, it's a bit cheap, I think, I mean, how much does it cost just to include that function on the selector control on the front there? Well, Panasonic have done it on this one, so that's a nice little bonus. Okay. Moving along then, we've got a tone control. Like I say, this is a bit of a basic box. You don't get any graphic equalizer on this one. Or, separate bass and treble controls, you just got a tone control. They've actually marked it on this one. Instead of it calling it low and high, they've actually called it bass and treble. Okay, down the bottom there, swing it all the way over to the left, you've got bass, and swing it all the way over to the right, you've got treble. Stick it somewhere in the middle, and you've got to mix the both. Okay, you can slice it and dice it whichever way takes your fancy. Important balance control on this one. Okay, so if you're playing back a tape and it says slightly not in the centre, you can adjust that and level it out. And the all-important control that makes the speakers go woof is the volume control there. Moving along then, we got another little selector there. Up top we've got FM, then it's long wave, medium wave, which is the same as AM, and then short wave. That little control just there, where it says fine tuning, that is for shortwave. Okay, and then on the front here next to the cassette deck you've got like a few little lights there. Okay, one's operation up the top, the next one's FM stereo, so when you pick up an FM band, and it locks into the, locks into the stereo mode. That little light comes on, and then a rather sort of pointless little light on there. When you're recording the cassette, that little record light comes on. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? If you press record, you don't need a little light to say that yes, the tape deck is actually recording. Okay, there's not many boom boxes that actually have a record light on them like that. Tape deck then. Now the layout for the buttons is rather sort of generic, really. A lot of them have got that layout where you've got from the left to the right, so you've got stop eject built into one button, then you've got record, rewind, fast forward, play and pause. Okay, there's a lot of tape decks out there that have the buttons arranged in that sequence. Okay, this is just another one of those boom boxes. Just down there then you've got a little bit of details about it and the model number RX-C37L. Okay, now I did say that this is a 3-piece boom box, so if I zoom out, that thing there is a cup of tea, don't worry about that, that's mine. It stops my throat from drying out while I'm doing a boombox video. But I said this was a 3-piece boombox, so let's take the speakers off. Okay, you pull the little toggle on the back there, they slide off like so. And that one, there we are. So it's a 3-piece boomer then. Okay, that can be useful if you wanted to widen out the stereo sound. Or on some of them you do actually have a little keyhole on the back. Yes, this one's got it. There's a little keyhole on the back so you can actually hang the speaker on the wall. Okay, we've got a little spool there for widening all your cable around. And on these you do actually have the little 3.5mm mono jack on that, instead of faffing around with those wires and poking them in the little holes on the back of the main unit. Okay, so you can actually hang these up on the wall. And if you wanted to make it a portable unit, then obviously speaking, as you've seen at the intro, the speaker's attached to the main unit. Okay, so there you go. Another thing you can do with it, with a 3-piece boombox, if ever you've done it, is to lie down on the floor and put a speaker either side of your ears, and when you play back your music, it actually sounds like you're in it. Okay, that's brilliant if it's like a concert or something like that. You can lie down between the speakers, and it sounds like you're actually at the concert. Okay, that is something you can't do with a 1-piece boombox. But then there are people out there that just do not like 3-piece boomboxes. So, what we're going to do then? Well, we've discussed the front of it. It is a rather basic one, this. Yeah, we're going to spin it around them and, do the details on the back of it, because there is a little specification plate on there, and having a line input, there's also a few jacks on the back of it as well. Now, to save a bit of time for me reattaching the speakers, I'm just going to move those out of the way. Okay, like so. So the speakers have gone there. We've just got the main unit. I'm going to fold that antenna away to save me from snapping it off. There we go. Another top tip with antennas as well. When you're folding them down, yeah, don't put your hand on the top and press it down, because sometimes what will happen is it'll warp and it will snap. Okay, actually feed it back in. Okay, don't just put your hand on the top and go whack with it. I've seen people do that and the aerial bends, and sometimes if they're really unlucky, it does actually put a kink in it and it snaps straight off. So never do that. Just feed it in one section at a time and then fold it down. Turning it around then, well, that's a bit odd. There doesn't appear to be a specification plate on the back of that one. That is weird. Why have they done that then? There's no specification plate on the back of that saying what voltage it uses or anything like that. Well, that is a bit bizarre. Maybe they've hidden it in the battery compartment. I very much doubt that. No, it's not in there. It doesn't even tell you how many batteries to put in it. Okay, there's a little diagram in it that tells you to put 6 D-size batteries in it. So there you go, that box is so basic, they haven't even put a specification plate on it. What do you reckon the chances are of it being stuck to the underside? Oh, what do you know? Yes, it is. They've hidden it. So there you go. There's the specification plate right on the bottom then. Okay, they've actually hidden it. Normally speaking, these things are on the back of most boomboxes, but Panasonic wanted to be a bit different and stick it on the underside. Let's zoom in then. There it is. There's all your details then. 14 watt little box, this one. Okay, 240 volts, 50 hertz and 14 watts. Or if you want, you can put 6 D-sized batteries in it and make it a portable self-powered unit. Okay, so there you go. So there's the specification plate then, in a really unusual place on the underside of the boombox. Okay, I don't think I've got any others where it's on the underside. It's normally on the back of it. So there we are. Have yourself a good look at that then, and we'll move on. Okay, if you wish to continue looking at that, then we're going to move on now. Yes, let's get into it then. Let's zoom that back out. Let's pick up the main unit. The speakers are detached, of course. There we go. And the only thing on the back of this then, apart from the battery compartment, is the power input and the line input. So, the power input's right down the bottom there then. No provision for a DC input jack. Okay, that on there is just a standard figure of 8 plug on there. Okay, and it does have a built-in switch so that when you pull that plug out of there, it switches it over the batteries. Like I've said in some other videos, there's also a little switch in there. So when you pull the plug out, it switches it over the batteries. But sometimes when that plug has been in there for so long, when you pull the plug out, the switch is stuck. Okay, and even if you put new batteries in the boombox, nothing happens. What you've got to do is get a little wee screwdriver in there or something, and press that switch a couple of times just to unstick it, and then you find that the boombox will work on batteries. Okay, nice little tip that is known throughout the world like Ghetto Massive. If you know, you put brand new batteries in a boombox and it still doesn't work, just press that switch in there a few times with a little screwdriver or something and it unsticks it. Just in there then we've got your line input jacks. Okay, the red one is, I'm probably using too much zoom on that. Right, your red one then is right and your white one is left. Straight in there. Okay. Now, obviously speaking, being a 3-piece unit, you obviously need somewhere to connect the speakers in. So there's one right there, right in the middle of the screen. That's a 3.5mm mono jack. Okay. And you put a 3 ohm speaker in that, I believe. It says, it does actually say it on there, right next to the jack. I'm going to have to get the camera right up to that, without casting a shadow. Let me use the remote control for gradual zoom then. Yeah, it says impedance 3 to 8 ohms, I believe that says. Yeah, 3 to 8 ohms, and it'll obviously be the same for the other one over the other side, which is right there. Okay, 3.5mm little mono jack then. And that basically covers the back of that. Now then, to do measurements, I'm going to need to reattach the speakers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break this one off and come back in a minute, and the speakers will be reattached to the boombox. Okay then, back where we started. What we're going to do now then is to do the measurements of this boombox. Okay, the height, the width, the depth and all that lot. And there we go. let me just bring that forward a bit, like so. And yes, we're going to start with the width then. And we are going to be looking at 20, just over 20 inch. Okay, just by a little tad. And the metric equivalent would be 515 millimeters wide. The heights, we're going to do two heights, one with handle up and one with handle down, so let's do that. With handle up then, let me just get right down on the floor so I can get it accurate. Yeah, I'd call that about 9.5 inch. Or 9.5 inch, or that would be 240 millimeters. Okay, and with the handle down, you're looking at nearly 8 inch or 200 millimeters. Okay, now for the depth, what I'm going to do is, because all the jacks and things go in the back, I'm going to do the width of the boombox plus a little extra bit so that you know, the power cords and all that lot aren't jammed up against the wall. And secondly, any electrical appliance, you shouldn't press it right up against the wall because there's ventilation slots on the back of it, so you do need to allow for a bit of air movement. Okay then, as you can see, that centre unit sticks out a bit further than what the speakers do, so we got to add on that piece at the back there, and then allow a bit more for the jack plugs that are going to be going in there and all that lot. So I'll put the measure about there. I would call that around about 8 inch or 200 millimeters. Okay, there's the 8 just there, and the 20 or the 200 for millimeters right there. Okay, because you've got to allow a bit of space for air movement around the back and all that lot. Okay, so that'll be 8 inch or 200 millimeters. So there's that then. Let's take that away, spin it around and have a look at what we've been looking at in tonight's boombox video then. So what we have been looking at is a Toshiba. Why did I get Toshiba? No, forget that. Let's go again. What a bloop. It's not a Toshiba. Come along now. It's late at night. Let's go again. What we've been looking at then is a Panasonic. It's a model number RX-C37L. Don't know where I've got Panasonic from. I've done it again. Anyway, forget that. It's a Panasonic RX-C37L. And it's getting late at night. And yes, I'm starting to make mistakes. Okay, so, you know. There we are. So I've screwed that up. Yes, a bit later on then, we're going to be doing more boombox videos because there's going to need to be a few more. Thumbs up and all that lot. Subscribe if you want to, if you haven't already. Because, you know, if you subscribe, you won't miss out on, you know, the next boombox videos that are coming up. And when one does release, you'll get a notification in your inbox. And you'll be able to watch that and marvel at all the 1980s goodness. I'm off. I'd like to say thanks for tuning in for watching another Wayne's Electrical production then, which is a boombox video, and there will be more later. Cheers for watching this one then.